quarter. Don King along with you. Memorial with the ball and a 7-point advantage, 26-19. And the basket by Ben Radford, his first points of the game. And the Chargers up their lead to 28-19. Shooting in the first half. Southeast 7 of 18 for 39%. Both teams with a turnover there. That gives Southeast 9 and Memorial 8. And that basket's good on the run out by Michael Graham. Makes it 28-21. I said this in the previous game. The old broadcast partner, the late J.B. Haney, who's not here. The state tournament, as Ben Radford has it, but was a longtime coach. In fact, took Tulsa Edison to the finals. Said the last 2 minutes of the third quarter, last 2 minutes of the second quarter, first 2 minutes of the third quarter, the most important. And Southeast get back into the game. Ben Radford making it look easy underneath. 30-21. Leading scorer for Memorial, Seth Pratt, with 8 points. Oh, LaDanian Fields, did he steal it away? I think they called a jump ball there, and so possession arrow toward Memorial. No, I guess not. Maybe a walk called on Southeast. Memorial 9 of 19 shooting in the first half for 47%. Memorial 4 of 9 from downtown. Southeast not as fortunate, 2 of 10. They were 3 of 4 from the line, the Spartans were. The Chargers were 4 of 4. Chargers out-rebounded the Spartans in the first half, 11-10. That one's out of bounds. Boy, has Memorial had some players over the years. So is Southeast for that matter, but go all the way back into the 60s. Foul will be called on Southeast. Second on Chafin. So Memorial will inbound, but you go back to the last, just the last few years. Caleb Nero, who just finished at North Dakota. A great point guard for Memorial. Pratt fade away. He's silky smooth. 10 points for the 6'3 senior. They open up now a 34-21 advantage. A foul called here on the Chargers, and they'll shoot 2. That'll be on Ingram, his second. LaDanian Fields to the line. I think that's just the first. I thought I heard them say second foul, but no, it is the second foul on Ingram. Fields is 2 of 3 from the line. He's a two-sport star for Southeast. Averaged 16.5 points a game as a sophomore. This year he improved it by just a point at 17.5. Most coaches would like to see a little more improvement than that from year to year. But still, Walter Brewer has to be happy with LaDanian Fields, obviously. The 6'2 junior, 17 points a game. Michael Graham, another junior, 20 points a game. Inside, give it to Seth Pratt, and one. This is a rematch again from last year's semifinal game in which Tulsa Memorial won that game. So Pratt completes the three-point play, makes it 37-21. It's a 9-point run for the Chargers. So see, it's the good teams that start the second half on a run. And these games go fast. High school's just 8 minutes per quarter. I did a G League game earlier this morning. The Oklahoma City Blue, the affiliate of the Oklahoma City Thunder, where they play 12-minute quarters. And we'll put up 90 shots in a game. I mean, it's rat-a-tat-tat, man. It's end to end. It's a lot of fun. But you're looking at 48 minutes on the clock compared to 32 minutes at the high school level. Look at this steal. And the easy lay-in for Keyshawn Thompson. And Southeast needs a timeout. Well, the lead is ballooned to 18 as they've come out here in the third quarter, and the Chargers have taken complete control of this one, outscoring Southeast 13-2. Here's a tidbit for you that I discovered last year on a tweet that I put out, and it's worth repeating. Now, don't count the COVID year of 2020, but 2021, 2 years ago, it was the first time in 50 years where a Tulsa public school or an Oklahoma City public school did not win a state championship. 50 years. During that time, Oklahoma City Public Schools had 53 gold balls and Tulsa Public Schools 31. Now, of course, Tulsa Memorial won a championship last year. And I'd have to look at the lower classes to see if Millwood might have captured one or Oklahoma City Douglas last year. But the streak has been reestablished. Darius Tobey commits the foul, his second. And Michael Graham will shoot two, his first chance at the line today. And that snaps the run of 11 straight points by Memorial. (39-23) midway third quarter. After the two free throws by Michael Graham. Gives him 8 points in the game. 30-second timeout called by Memorial. One of the great players that Bruce Morton points out is Caleb Green. Not only is he retired jersey at at Memorial, but also this past season at Oral Roberts University. And what an impressive win that was yesterday for the Golden Eagles. That was fun. And Paul Mills and the Golden Eagles now await Sunday evening to see where they're going. And I would agree with the gentleman that did the game, and a lot that's been talked about on Tulsa Sports Radio this week and in Oklahoma City. I caught one of the stations here talking about it today. You don't want to play ORU that first round. If it's they could be a real tough matchup, as they were 2 years ago when they went to the Sweet 16. So excited for them. And they did a great job. The money they got back in 2021 as that basket's put up and in. Seth Pratt's got 16 points in this game, and Memorial's running away now at 41-23. But the money they got, that ORU got 2 years ago, they put right back into the athletic department. Renovated the Mabee Center, which is still palatial, 50 years old. Another layup by Ingram. build a new athletic offices. LaDainian Fields with the basket. 43-25. Memorial by 18. Fields with 8. Yeah, Caleb Green, he played on a great team. Early 2000s, 2003 for Memorial. Before that, Brandon Lloyd in 95. Still one of the best state championship games I've ever seen was that 95 final between Jinx and Memorial. Memorial with a 20-point lead. Ooh, and that'll be a foul on the Chargers on this end, I think. So they knocked down one of the Spartans. Be the 4th team foul on the Chargers as Ben Radford takes a seat. That Jinx Memorial game in 95 went down to the wire. Memorial won it by 2 points. John Estick was on that team. He was another All-Stater at Memorial. Brandon Lloyd. Caleb Green. Caleb Nero, I mentioned. Shamar Walker. They've had some great point guards, but Bobby Allison says the guy he's got now, Ty Frierson, just finished his career this past season, but Bobby Allison says Monte Collins, very well the best. And then you got the Boone twins, Caleb and Keelan. Recently finishing their careers at Memorial. Keelan now playing at Pacific. And you wonder, as OSU, by the way, is leading Oklahoma. We'll update you on that score when it becomes final. Midway second half, Oklahoma State leading by 5. That three-pointer makes it 48-25. Toby's had a nice day here for Memorial with 10 points, including a couple of threes. Well, they're all over Ingram. Pratt open for the three. Bang! Third tray of the game for Pratt. By my account, he's got 19. 6-3 of the day for Memorial. That's one and done. A minute left, and Memorial leading 51-27. They led by 5 after 1. They led by 7 at halftime, and they have blown it open here in the third. And they can't get the exclamation point on that three-pointer. Ooh, Fields runs in to Pratt and he would be called for the foul. Another All-Stater from a few years back, Isaiah Thomas, that played with Nero back on that 2017 team. Isaiah now in the NFL after playing at OU. That one won't go. Ingram had it hang on the heel for quite some time. Maybe they'll get another chance here with 21 seconds. That one goes for Toby. He's off the bench with a dozen. And Memorial 53-27 over Southeast. Pratt comes away with it. And that counts for 3 from Seth Pratt. What an exclamation point to end the third period. Just felt it coming. 56-27 Chargers on their way to the semifinals for what would appear to be the 23rd time as we head to the fourth quarter on the NFHS network.
We understand an upside-down world, but they're writing us off before we get to the starting line. A stalled generation? Who do you think is going to fix all this? We will, because our future is the future. So we're going to build bridges and hospitals in a day and feed those left in the cold. We're going to do all this and more because we have an appointment with destiny.
Goodbye, guessing. Hello, confidence. So long, stress. Hello, security. Farewell, running to the bank. Hello, banking from anywhere. Get a quick view of your balance, block lost debit cards, and quickly deposit checks anywhere, anytime with the highly rated Arvest Go mobile app from Arvest Bank. Goodbye, limits. Hello, possibilities.
Don King and their NFHS network. With you from the Lloyd Noble Center in Norman on the University of Oklahoma campus. March mayhem at its finest in Memorial with a big third quarter. They scored 26 in the first half. They scored 30 in that third quarter. Not this time for Jamerson, and so here comes, or rather that was Cody Jackson. Here's a number that blows my mind. I mentioned how Memorial had won 11 consecutive regionals on their home floor, whether it was the new arena or their old gym on their campus. And then to go to the area championships and win those games and never have to play an area consolation game on a Saturday night to get to the state tournament. So if you go back to Bobby Allison's career, which started back in 2014, that'll be a foul and a shooter on the foul by Jamerson. That'll be his first. So you go back to Allison's career as a head coach since 2014, right? In postseason play that includes regionals, area, and state tournament games, his overall record is 54-3 in the postseason. Two of those three losses, one of the three losses was in a championship game. He lost in the semifinals in 15. They were upset by Ardmore 2 years ago, losing by 6 in the opening round in 21. That allowed Del City to win I shouldn't say it allowed them to win the championship, but it made Del City an easier path for them to win it. And those two could be on a path again. They'll meet in the semifinals, it would appear, Friday night. So no upsets on the 5A boys bracket to this point. And the lay-in by Jamerson for his first points not Jamerson, but Collins, rather. He's got 6 points. 58-28. 30-point third quarter. That's hard to do in 8 minutes. The Chargers did it, and a three-pointer by Marshawn Graham. That is just the third three of the game for Southeast. And a timeout. And while they have a timeout, there's a look at the Southeast huddle. Let's talk about Walter Brewer, because he's a legendary coach at Oklahoma City Southeast. I was unaware that he grew up in Fort Smith, and he's been coaching for 50 years. That's just crazy. He grew up in Fort Smith, played at Northside, and I did not know this. He is the younger brother of Ron Brewer Sr. And so they were to play in a Skiatook Invitational community by Tulsa, and it got postponed. So Coach Brewer took him to Fort Smith to play in the tournament over there. So he brought his team to his home, to the place where he grew up. Kind of interesting. And he said it was really a lot of fun to bring his team to where he grew up. I had no idea that he was the younger brother of Ron Brewer Sr., who, of course, was a great player at Arkansas and in the pros. Brewer, Walter, went on to play at Northeastern State, then played in a semi-pro league in Dallas. In fact, he said he wanted to start his coaching career in Tulsa, but there was no job openings. So he applied for a coaching position at Oklahoma City Douglas, which eagerly hired him with his background as an assistant for 3 years. Then he took over at Southeast, that had closed in 1990 due to declining enrollment, but was renovated as a magnet school and reopened in 1994. After Southeast had won 3 state championships before it closed. And what a job that Walter Brewer has done in revitalizing this tremendous program at Oklahoma City Southeast. They won back-to-back state championships in 04 and 05. In fact, the 05 team went 27-0 and finished with a 3-year record of 79-2. That's some good stuff right there from Oklahoma City Southeast. Matt Clark went to school there. They've had some great players. Second free throw won't go for Monte Collins, so it remains 60-31. 5.5 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter. 3, nope. And rebounded by Jareth Ingram. 8 points, 6 rebounds. Pratt has led the way, though, for Memorial with 22 points, 7 rebounds. Ingram fighting hard as if it's a 2-point game. What do we got here? Jump ball. Southeast get a timeout. Memorial's ball. I think they called it tie ball. And I think that's going to be a 5-second call on Holland Hall or on Memorial. Holland Hall won earlier tonight to start the 5A bracket, making their first semifinal appearance and doing it in 5A. They were called up to 5A in the middle of the season. Didn't bat an eye. Teddy Owens has them at 22-4, playing Carl Albert Friday at 4:30. Marshawn Lynch hits the big basket to make it 60-34. Ingram in trouble, and a foul will be called. One of the things you see Walter Brewer there with the towel over his shoulder. That's legendary for him as well. So you've got Holland Hall and Carl Albert. Holland Hall's 22-4, Carl Albert 22-5. They'll pair off at 4:30 here at OU Friday afternoon, and then 7:30 Friday night. It'll be Memorial against Del City. So, as expected, the top 4 seeds, the top 2 from the East, the top 2 from the West, advancing. .5A girls today. Sapulpa expected to win and maybe expected to take care of business in this 5A girls side, and they didn't disappoint. They beat Glenpool 79-43 today. El Reno over Tahlequah as expected, 61-51. Carl Albert and girls as expected, beating Will Rogers 61-46, and Holland Hall as expected, beat Lawton MacArthur 54-48. So the top 4 seeds in 5A girls, the best from the West, the top 2 from the East all advance in 5A girls and 5A boys. 6A gets underway tomorrow. We'll see what the script holds for those schools. And again, it's always fun to watch schools come into these state tournaments that have both boys and girls teams involved. And Holland Hall has both of them advancing to the semifinals. Carl Albert Ben Radford gets in on the act. Carl Albert has both of their teams advancing. Tahlequah not so fortunate today in 5A. Their girls took it on the chin, as did the boys tonight. Carl Albert beat Tahlequah 62-50. Holland Hall knocked off El Reno 51-36. Del City disposed of Edison. 49-40 was that final. So the free throw good by LaDainian Fields for his 9th point. I mentioned Matt Clark playing here. You've got to go back a ways to remember maybe Matt Clark, great shooting guard at Oklahoma City Southeast that really revived the Oklahoma State basketball program. Let's see, this would have been, gosh, I'm going to date myself. Had to be around the mid-'80s when Paul Hansen was the coach there, and Oklahoma State really hadn't done anything for 20 years since Hank Iba had retired in the mid-'60s. But Paul Hansen got OSU to an NCAA tournament with Leroy Combs, another great Oklahoma City player, and Matt Clark. Pratt hits the second one. Gives him 23 points. Leading scorer in the game, 63-37. You look also, not only Matt Clark, but Mickey Tettleton, Darrell Porter, Bobby Mercer. What a baseball tradition that they had. Clendon Thomas, great OU football player. All went to school at Southeast. Matt Clark said they went 99-10 the 4 years he was there as a player. Walter Brewer got to be disappointed in his team tonight, but they've got 3 players coming back next year, and you just have a feeling that another building block here for the Spartans. Whereas Memorial coming in with 5 senior starters. Timeout called, 3.5 minutes to go. Timeout called by the Spartans. This is the second year that the games have been played in Norman at OU. I mentioned they have had the championships here before. The first time was 1997. And the Broken Arrow boys, who will play tomorrow, won their first boys championship. 97, Booker T. Washington girls won it here in 97. 99, I remember that well, walking out from doing games and it snowed all day long. Nobody knew it, at least I didn't. But Norman won the boys' 99 title here at OU. Booker T. Washington won the girls again in 99. In 2000, Midwest City beat Norman for the boys' championship. John Marshall beat Oklahoma City Douglas. They played again here in 03, where Memorial and Eric Savage was the coach then when they beat Putnam City. John Marshall won another title here in 03 at OU. In 07, Rodney Dindy and Midwest City beat Lawton Eisenhower. On the girls' side, Carl Albert beat East Central. In 09, Putnam City beat Jinx. And on the girls' side, Guthrie beat Edison. In fact, the Guthrie coach at that time on the girls' side was Pete Paparonis, and he'll be coaching an undefeated Edmond North team tomorrow in the opening round of the 6A girls and the defending champs. They've only lost one game in 2 seasons. I think they've gone 53-1 in the last 2 years. And then last year, Memorial won here, beating Del City. Actually, I beg your pardon, that when Guthrie won here in 09, that was a boys' game under Guthrie and Paparonis. So OU has hosted now for the 8th time state championships. Gallagher-Iba hosted 1 year. But the 5A, 6A have been mostly held in Tulsa. Seth Pratt, he's still playing, man. It's 68-39. 3 minutes to go. He got tomorrow to rest. And another foul and another basket. Let's go. Let's wrap up the last 3 minutes. I got curfew. Let's see. This game, yeah, we're about on time. It's amazing how they played 8 games here today, and they've really been pretty much on time. I think maybe the latest has been about a 10-minute from scheduled start. I think they were a little over 10 minutes in the afternoon and about 10 to 15 minutes here, 10 minutes tonight. So it's worked well for Mike Whaley and the OSSAA. Amy Castle and the rest of the Oklahoma Secondary Schools Activities Association. Our thanks to Michael Noteware, who has had to trek upstairs here. I think he said he made 30 trips up and down the stairs, so he's got his steps in today. To the line for Memorial, leading 68-39. 2:42 to go. And that free throw not good by Keyshawn Thompson. 3 ball on the way. No good by Pineda. And a run out by Thompson, and he missed the jam after he missed the free throw. Monte Collins has it go off of him, so it'll go to Southeast. Well, this was a 5-point game after 1 period. Right? Yeah, 14-9, a 7-point game at halftime, but Memorial came out and just took over this game. A 13-2 run. And it was over. They scored 30 points in the third quarter to lead 56-27. And lead it now 68-42. And a great pass underneath. Oh, and then Keyshawn Thompson has it go off his foot. So J.D. Northcutt will take you through Friday's or tomorrow's 6A boys games and then the boys semifinals Friday here on NFHS Network. I'll have the pleasure of doing the girls opening round tomorrow morning in 6A and then the girls semifinals Friday and then the championship game Saturday. Never gets old. Do the state tournaments, and interesting that the reason they wanted to spread this out is to get more players involved here at Lloyd Noble, because again, of subsites where the opening rounds were held at different areas around the Tulsa area or Oklahoma City area, whichever community was hosting the championships. They just felt that this gives, just like the State Fair Arena in the Big House, it gives every school an opportunity. The smaller schools always played all their games at State Fair Arena, and there's just such an atmosphere and a tradition about it. They've kind of wanted to do that now with the larger schools. Give every team, every player an opportunity to play in the big arena. And even though it's a long, long day and a long, long weekend for guys with the OSSAA or the people here at the University of Oklahoma, with regard to the ushers and the concessions and Justin Shaw and Aaron Ryburn, who have produced all these telecasts since 9 o'clock this morning. Still a lot of fun to come to the state tournament, and especially when they hoist the championship trophies on Saturday. 68-44 Memorial, minute 24 remaining. 2 free throws coming. Look down the rest of this roster. As I mentioned, 3 starters that are juniors. Linzel Stevenson caps off a good night for him. He got off to a good start. 8 points early in the game. 8 points at halftime. Those are his first 2 points, I believe, of the second half. He's got actually 11. Memorial calls a timeout. Chargers with Bobby Allison at the controls, assisted by Joe Thomas, Nick Harris, and Nate Snuffer. So they're about to advance to the semifinals for the 23rd time. Wow. Long day for some of these officials as well. Here's the rundown of the championship games, by the way. In 3A boys, the championship will be at the State Fair Arena, 10 o'clock Saturday morning. 11:45, it's the 2A girls. At 1:30, the 4A girls from State Fair Arena. And then the 3A girls, 5 o'clock Saturday night, and 6:45, the 2A boys Saturday night. Pratt trying to put on a Harlem Globetrotters act and dribbles it out of bounds. Meanwhile, here the 5A girls at noon on Saturday, 6A girls at 2, 5A boys at 5 at OU, and the 6A boys at 7 o'clock. Who will it be? Who will be hosting the Gold Balls on Saturday in all of these classes? Class A and Class B were last weekend at the State Fair Arena. Nothing more fun than to go to the State Fair Arena where it's general admission and watch those doors open and the gates open and watch people flood into seats. Man, they packed that place out. They're building a new arena on the fairgrounds, so the Big House is, its days are waning. 15-footer on the way, circles out, drops off, and Southeast commits the foul on committed by LaDainian Fields with 35 seconds left. Monte Collins back to the line. Collins today, 8 points, 3 rebounds. Seth Pratt, what a day. 26 points, 10 rebounds. LaDainian Fields, 14 points, 8 rebounds for Southeast in this game. Southeast has had a tough night, 33% shooting from the field. Memorial, 61%. More subs coming in for the Chargers and Bobby Allison. (69-45) Memorial. 70-45. Collins now with 9 points. Rebounded by Tyree Jamerson. Hopefully without a foul we can melt the final 15 seconds here. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So Memorial runs their record to 23-3, and they make the semifinals now for the 23rd time. And they do it in business-like fashion with a convincing 70-45 victory over Oklahoma City Southeast, who finishes their season at 16-8. So the 5A boys are set for the semifinals on Friday. And again, we'll start tomorrow morning's action at 9 o'clock with 6A girls action. Hope you can join us. We'll be up and early and ready to give you the 6A girls action tomorrow. Hey, the two teams that play first thing in the morning, they don't have far to come from. Norman and Norman North to get things started tomorrow morning. That's a great rivalry, and we will see you then. For our producers, Justin Shaw, and for Aaron Reiber and Don King, along with J.D. Northcutt. Thanks for joining us on the NFHS Network.
With any sport, injury is always a possibility. What's important is how you bounce back. At Excel Therapy, our knowledgeable and caring physical therapy staff will work with you each step of the way, taking you from setback to comeback.